Support Wrestle Talk!
Give us a subscribe. Hello and welcome to WrestleRamble. This is Luke Owen, I'm Ollie Davis, and today we're going to be going through all our thoughts on last night's Battleground pay-per-view from Smackdown. This is the first one of those WrestleRamble pay-per-view reactions we've done. We've never really dove straight into a pay-per-view the day after.
That's right, because you weren't here for Great Balls of Fire.
No, I missed that one, which seemed like a pretty damn fine pay-per-view.
It was all right, yeah.
Annoyingly. But yeah, if you want to go straight to any of the matches or the discussion in general, click the timestamps in the video description below, or stay right here, where I'm just going to do a bit of rambling about my back.
Yeah, so I got a text message from Ollie this morning, just before I left, saying, in so many words, my back hurts.
Help.
Yeah, help.
Help me.
So tell the fine folks, tell the Wrestle Talk universe what is up with your back.
Well, I haven't exercised for a month because I was off to Glastonbury and I was off to Cornwall, so I thought I'll have a break from that as well. And you were starting, so it was a busy time. And I went to CrossFit to be like Seth Rollins on Wednesday. It was totally fine. Sunday I woke up, can't move. Just cannot move.
So you aimed on Wednesday to be Seth Rollins,
yeah,
and you woke up on Sunday as the Great Khali.
Well, that's it. I think the Great Khali is responsible for my back. You know how he walks with a slight lumbar extension?
Yeah.
His chest out and his back seems like that. I'm sure it's probably part of his giganticism or whatever condition he has.
I'd imagine it is, yes.
I've just got like... if you watch the Battleground review or the news today, Easter egg, you'll see that my body is actually like this. It's like an S at the moment.
In a fun little bit of behind the scenes, pulling back the curtain, so to speak, going into gorilla position. The start of the video that Ollie recorded today, he tried to stand straight and nearly
do the hello and welcome.
And you nearly doubled over in pain and
collapsed.
And you were just like, nope, can't stand straight today. I'm just going to have to stand at a slight angle.
Well, I realised if I lift 1 foot off the ground, I can actually adjust my butt so it's more level.
Okay.
So for most of the Battleground video, I did it on one leg. Like Kenny Omega versus Suzuki. He can't get to the top rope to do the moonsault, so he does the one-legged moonsault off the middle rope because Suzuki worked over his leg. Hot damn, the G1 has been good. Hot damn, Smackdown isn't as good. Should we get straight into
Let's
it?
Get into
now
it, yeah.
I've moaned enough about my back.
Well, I think it's absolutely fine that you have a little bit of a whinge and a moan about your back. As we were saying when we were setting up this studio, bad backs are nothing to be messing with.
No.
They are bad news.
I'm off. I've never been to a physiotherapist. I'm off to one in a couple of hours. So I'm quite curious to see what, because they have these people on standby in WWE all the time. Am I leaning really close to you?
You are quite close, yeah. You can't sit straight.
It's the S.
It's absolutely fine. I don't mind it.
I'll kick back like this. Just play it cool, man. Just, real cool and relaxed. Yes, I'm going to see a physiotherapist. I'll report back on Wednesday.
Remember that episode of Friends?
Quite comfy, actually.
Remember that episode of Friends when Joey has a hernia
Yeah,
and he refuses to go and get it looked at?
Made me laugh.
The only way he can sort it out is by putting his hand down his trousers and pressing in on it.
Okay, this position and laughing isn't good. So
Sorry.
I can sit like that, but I can't be happy.
No.
I can just be comfortable.
Well, that's fine because you don't have to be happy when talking about this show.
Okay, so should we get into this?
Yeah.
Tye Dillinger, we'll be going through our predictions as well that we made on Saturday. Of course, the winner of the predictions and all of the things tallied up over the month gets my lunchbox.
Yeah.
There's the microphone down. It's because I put my arm on it.
You did.
Gets my Money in the Bank lunchbox. Inside is a scandal that could ruin me and ruin my WWE career.
Yes, a lot like Kurt Angle when it turns out it was just a son that everyone seems cool with.
You can't fit Jason Jordan in this.
No.
So it's not going to be him.
Or Chad Gable.
Chad Gable might fit.
He's not that small.
He's a bit smaller, though. So, yes, we're going to run through... We got mostly similar predictions apart from one match. We'll come to it. So the kickoff was Tye Dillinger versus Aiden English.
Yes, it was.
Which you didn't
watch.
I
did not watch, no. Mostly because I was just expecting a Tye win in a SmackDown TV match, and I thought, I've got other things that need to be watched, so I'm going to just watch those instead. Lo and behold, I come into the studio today, and you informed me that Aiden English won.
Aiden English won It was one of I would have it, if I had to rank them, as the third best match of the night.
Wow.
That's more indicative of the bottom from a lot of the other matches on the card that didn't deliver.
So it's still like a 2.5-star match, but
just by default.
Compared to everything else, yeah. I am surprised by this. It was a bit of a throwaway match. We joked on last week's episode that these two have fought more times than Cena, Randy Orton at this point. But yeah, I'm just a bit surprised that they gave Aiden English the win.
Yeah, I don't think they care. It doesn't mean anything.
No, it's on the kickoff.
It's not going to cause him to go on a winning streak or a storyline. This is a feud that has been developed purely on pre-shows.
Yeah.
I can't remember a match they've had on Smackdown TV, but maybe I'm forgetting one.
Can you only imagine how many times they faced each other on house shows?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, so there you go. We both incorrectly predicted Tye Dillinger there. So both wrong. Next up was, because we've got these out of order for how they played out, the fantastic tag team title match between the Usos and the New Day.
A great match this was. Really, really great. In that the closing sort of closing 5 minutes of the match were absolutely awesome.
Real back and forth because it started off as your standard tag team match, heated. Big E's on the outside. I don't know, if I was choosing my New Day lineups, and if this was a real sport, I would always have Big E in there and a Kofi or Xavier. Yeah. They would be the interchangeable ones because you're leaving your muscle man on the sideline.
It's a bit like playing Final Fantasy VII and not having Barrett in your team.
If I got that reference, sure, yeah, I agree. And so it's Kofi and Xavier versus Jimmy and Jay. And they work a normal match. Kofi is taken outside with a double powerbomb.
And what a powerbomb was. A great, he did the plancha, and they killed him, and then just effed him into the ground. It was great.
Yeah, right onto the mats on the outside of the ring, which...
Big flat back
that
bump.
That is not forgiving, that part of the arena.
No.
And actually, I'm going to do this quite a bit, because there's a lot of great wrestling that's happening right now with the G1. I just watched Ring of Honor TV. I watched an episode of Ring of Honor TV. It was a cracking hour, way better than NXT. And the opening match was Jonathan Gresham versus Punishment Martinez. And Punishment Martinez is like a legit 6'5", 6'7" guy. Jonathan Gresham is tiny. And they did a spot, just in an opening match, but what a match it was. Like the story they told, Gresham is tiny, so he just had to really smartly take out bits of Punishment Martinez. Punishment Martinez, because he's so big and a monster. It was happening to him, but he was kind of like a fly swatting it off. He was getting annoyed that he was being outsmarted by this guy, but there was no way they were making much of an impact, these attacks, just because of the size difference between the two. And they got to the outside of the ring. This is where it really turned in Punishment's favour. Punishment Martinez picked him up for a last ride outside the ring, and he turns round, and Jonathan Gresham's like doing the cross on the chest to bless himself. He gives him a last ride onto the ring apron.
Oh.
Maybe this is sympathy pain, my back from that spot. I'm just like, oh my God. I didn't know that's the sort of spot you'd save for a pay-per-view match.
Well, this is it. I often find this happens with a lot of, I hate to use the term indie wrestling, but there's a lot of people don't tend to understand that your opening match, you don't want to do spots that would be better suited for a pay-per-view / main event.
Yeah. I could see that, but these are two guys who almost want to prove themselves. They're not going to have a pay-per-view match anytime soon together, so why not bust out a big spot like that?
I can see both arguments.
But that's not taken away from Kofi's spot.
No.
Kofi's spot was also very
good.
And then, so Kofi was out for the match, and what you got was this lovely dynamic of Xavier Woods playing the babyface in peril very well against the Usos. Just tag team move, tag, move, pin, kick out, tag.
I particularly loved my favourite spot outside of that super kick spot that I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. But there was a moment when I like tag teams who are really so well in sync with each other. That's why I think the Revival are awesome. And there was a moment when I believe it was Jimmy hit a super kick, and as soon as he hit it, dove to tag in Jay. And I was like, it's so good, because he didn't just hit the move and then walk over and tag him. It was like, we need to beat this guy as quickly as possible, and this is the quickest route to me tagging you. Oh, I thought it was great. Really great. Yeah. The Usos are so good.
Should we talk about that spot?
Let's talk about that spot.
So, what is it? The Xavier's on the outside. He fights off one of the, I don't know, Jimmy. He fights off one of them on the apron, and then he hits the other one in the ring. Uso in the ring falls down across the, for the long jumping flying elbow off the top rope, off the actual top rope.
He does his springboard elbow drop thing.
And as Xavier jumps off, he's just about to land the elbow. Other Uso from out of nowhere, super kick straight in the face.
So well timed.
Oh.
Like that is the sort of thing that is nigh on impossible to time perfectly. The only instance I can think of something that would be harder to time was when Matt Sydal was in WWE as Evan Bourne, and he did a shooting star press that Randy Orton then reversed into an RKO.
That's something else.
That's unreal. The timing to get those, very good, very impressive.
Yeah, that was that was a real great spot, and it just played into Woods. You see, like he's seemingly out for the count, and then he just kicks out, and it didn't get tired. I was like, oh yeah, I want Woods to win.
Yeah,
I was actually invested in a babyface. Crowd were as well. They came alive. This is awesome. Chant broke out.
Absolutely, only time of the night.
Yeah, and then Kofi got in. Well, it's probably because they could see this match. I think if they could see what was going on in the Punjabi prison, they'd be more excited. But yeah, and then the New Day got the win.
Yeah,
which I wasn't expecting, but I think off the back of this.
That was it. I mean, I'd have liked to have seen with all of that, like all those great near falls, the Usos win with like a pull of the tights and get a bit of a cheap victory, and then that could build into the rematch at SummerSlam. However, because you had a pull of the tight spot later in the night, it probably was probably a bit too much to do that as well.
Yeah, you don't want to. I mean, this is the only clean finish we got in the entire main card.
Was it? John Cena Rusev was a clean finish.
Oh, but it was through a table, like that's a gimmick match.
Okay,
so
maybe.
it is real screwy still. And the elimination match and low
and
blow.
The US title match.
US title was just weird, although that was kind of clean, but it had a ref bump. So don't take away this one.
You're right, I won't take away from this one.
But the interesting thing here is where do you go now? Because New Day, it's all about the thrill of the chase.
Well, and that's kind of what I'd have liked to have seen the Usos keep the belts. Because New Day are better when they're chasing. You don't want another lengthy New Day run because that was pretty much death to the Raw Tag Team division last year. And if the New Day are moving on to someone else, who are they moving on to? Because the Ascension we did forget the Ascension when going through our SmackDown tag teams because, I mean, of course you'd forget the Ascension. But it is the New Day, Epico and Primo, who are injured, Usos, Ascension, and Breezango. Breezango are tied up. Ascension are a complete joke. Epico and Primo are injured. So you only have the Usos left.
Potentially Harper and Rowan.
So
I still want to see... It would have been better if the Usos retained. Maybe, I don't know, you want to set up the SummerSlam. I don't know how you would have done it off the top of my head. But Usos retain to set up a ladder match at SummerSlam.
Yes.
That's what I want to see between these two teams next.
I wouldn't have minded if they'd have done another walkout finish. Although I think it is very lazy, and I criticised it when they did it on Great Balls of Fire. And I really don't like the finish, especially when you've done such a great job of doing like a really good finish to the match, really good sequences of near falls. But if the Usos had walked out by that point, A, they'd have got a great amount of heat for it as well, and B, you could have used that to set up the match at SummerSlam of being like, right, you want to keep walking out your tag matches, we're going to put the tag titles above the ring where you can't walk out of the ring.
That's a nice way to set it up.
And then you used so you're not just using your walkouts as a cheap way to not pin your heels. You're doing it to here's the thing, build a storyline.
Whoa. You do need to, I mean, that to open the show, I would have been fine with. And then you have to get the commissioner or whoever to come out immediately after to address that fact.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is just another screwy finish. And you have to change a lot of the other finishes on the show so it isn't just screwy finishes for everything and then the Punjabi Prism. But yeah, that would be a way to do it. So, let's also talk about... So we both got that wrong. We both said the Usos. So we're 0 for 2 so far.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Breezango. Because I think this could tie in to what's happening. Maybe it is a sanity call-up.
Well, yeah, so we got a tweet from someone who said that Eric Young had been spotted in Philly. which is where the pay-per-view had taken place, and there were then led rumours that it was going to be an Eric Young / Sanity debut, and I did say that Eric Young's not been on NXT TV as of late. He wasn't at the last set of tapings, and the excuse that was given by Alexander Wolf is that our great leader Eric Young is off on other business, and I was like, what if this was a great bit of foreshadowing, almost a bit of long-term planning.
Well, that's NXT for you. That if it's going to happen anywhere in WWE, that's there.
So I thought perhaps that might be it. But turns out that when they said to be concluded, it did not conclude, and it actually is to still be continued.
Yeah, so Breezango, they open the skit there, Fashion X-Files, the truth, the H is...
The truth is H.
The truth is H, that's the one, that's the pun.
With the Mulder poster saying, I want to believe.
Yeah.
Very good.
And the Ascension come in and they say, it was us. And they were like, but we all already eliminated you. And they were like, yeah. It was us. And that was a nice joke about the anticlimactic endings to the series, and also what just happened over on Raw with the Jason Jordan reveal as Kurt Angle. That's how I interpreted it, at least.
Yeah, I thought it was very much a dig at themselves.
Yeah.
Last time when it was, it appeared to be the Ascension that attacked them, and we even said in our report afterwards, like, well, God, if it is that's incredibly anticlimactic, isn't it?
But then what happened is that the Ascension left, the lights cut out, it comes back on, Breeze is down, lights cut out again, Fandango is now down, and the camera person seems to have been taken out as well, because now the camera is on the floor at a Dutch angle, so tilted, like in Paranormal Activity or something like that. Camera doesn't move, and Fandango's body is just dragged away. It was very eerie. At first, I thought this is like a Wyatt family promo. Yeah. Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Maybe this is the way to reintroduce them into the tag team division. But now I'm thinking you somehow string this along to SummerSlam. Don't reveal who it is. And it's Sanity. The night after NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Yeah. Because they're involved in a match there.
I believe they are going to be in the tag match against the Authors of Pain.
So that gets around that. They come up the next night. And hey, presto, you've got New Day... a fresh food to start with after the Usos, after they beat the Usos in a ladder match. That would be just off the fly how I would do it. Yeah. What do you think?
I completely agree with that, and I could definitely get behind that. The problem then with NXT is that your tag team division is completely depleted there as well, because you've only got Heavy Machinery and TM61 who are injured, the Ely brothers.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
But what's more important, SmackDown or NXT?
Well, obviously SmackDown.
Yeah. Or it could be the Wyatt family 2.0.
It could be, yes. It could
which
be.
I wouldn't mind at all.
I wouldn't mind either, but I just feel that, once again, it's just a bit of a step back for Luke Harper, because he keeps leaving the Wyatt family, getting small singles pushes, and then just goes straight back into the Wyatt family when creative have nothing for him.
Yeah, so next up, Breezango came sort of
much
before
later
on, the penultimate match. But after the Usos and New Day, we had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Baron Corbin. Boy, was this disappointing, I thought.
This was a pretty nothing match. This was a match where it was quite easy to get distracted and go look at something else on the old iPad or on Twitter.
That's how you ruin stuff for yourself.
Well, no, I don't.
You can't check Twitter.
No, I don't.
If you're watching it on a delay.
I'm not watching on Twitter. Only because, when I woke up this morning, I had 38 notifications. I was like, I'm not going anywhere near those. And good job too, because it was a lot of people saying hey, the Great Khali showed up.
Yeah. I don't check my Twitter until I've finished watching the programming.
Exactly.
Because it will be, this happened. Thanks for letting me know. It's nice for you to text.
It's one thing when the WWE Network does it. It's another when, because I had the Jason Jordan thing spoiled for me last week, where the place where I go to watch Raw on a tape delay also had the network interview up as well. Yeah. And so there was just a thumbnail that showed Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan. I was like, all right, cool, so that's the reveal then.
Did you see what happened in the arena the night as everyone was coming in for Monday Night Raw?
No.
So last Monday on the reveal, they were testing American Alpha graphics on the Titantron.
Good work.
Someone snapped a photo. Well, I guess he's still got, is it Jordan or is it Gable? It's the one we didn't really care about. So yeah, I mean, that's how easy it is to get distracted about Nakamura versus Corbin.
Point proven.
We're talking about something else. However, I could watch Baron Corbin do his, I'm running towards the ring post. Oh, I slide out the ring post. I get back in really quickly and clothesline someone.
Yeah.
Could watch that all day long.
That was great, yeah.
That is
really
good.
This also had this had our first screwy finish of the night, where Bazza just did a nut shot, just kicked him in the nuts, and that was it. My worry for that is that it leads into further matches between the two, and I'm already ready for this feud to be done.
Yeah, so the way SummerSlam is shaping up, AJ Styles lost. So there's no John Cena. There's no United States title match there with John Cena that we speculated on,
or the US title match between him and Nakamura.
Yeah, that was
they
the other
teased on SmackDown last week.
Yeah, but that could be foreshadowing something later down the line.
I hope it does.
Yeah. Well, they must fight each other at some point.
They will fight each other at some point. The problem is, they weren't teasing Nakamura, AJ Styles having a fight. What they teased was Nakamura chasing AJ Styles for the United States title. That's the difference. He looked at the title and said, "When you call, I'll answer."
I can't be too down on them for that, because that kind of gives the impression, AJ... Everyone thinks AJ's holding the belt for ages in this little universe of wrestlers interacting with each other. Of course they would go, I want a shot of that, because you're the champion at the moment. Then the title changes hands.
Cool. Bear in mind, this is a completely scripted, fabricated show.
Yeah.
You have the ability to do that. You have the ability to just make these things up. It's not like people are going to challenge him and be like, yeah, if you still are the champion, I will do this, because you can make him be the champion for a long time.
Maybe he did say that, but the gum shield obscured it. Now I think if I was in charge of SmackDown or Raw or something, everyone would be, gunning for everyone's titles, and they'd be saying stuff like that. So, not to not spoil results.
No, and I get behind that, and I completely agree with that. Problem is
the
that
execution.
The execution is that, so stop setting things up if there's no payoff. Because that then makes SmackDown even more irrelevant than it currently is.
Yeah, that's the problem. It obviously doesn't have a very... Well, there must be a long-term picture in place, but not for everyone. And that's what's frustrating. But yeah, Nakamura still... it looks like it's going to a rematch at SummerSlam.
Oh, man, Nakamura, his first SummerSlam, one of the big four, and he's been given Bazza Corbs in a feud that no one cares about.
Mr. Money in the Bank, though.
He is Mr. Money in the Bank, but there's literally no storyline in this or reason to care. Which actually is the story with a lot of the matches on this.
The next match, which was Charlotte versus Becky versus Natalya versus Tamina versus Lana. By the way,
are you trying to tell me that the SmackDown women were in a multi-person match on a pay-per-view?
Sure was, Luke.
Oh well,
but hey.
Blow me down.
It was to set up a singles match. So that's something. By the way, we both went for Nakamura in the previous match.
Yes, we did, yeah.
So we got one.
Yes.
1 for 3, I think, or 1 for 2. I don't know.
1 for 3.
1 for 3. So why the hell did you pick Natalya? Because you called this right with Natalya.
Yeah.
She was... Only Tamina was below her for me on this.
Because, it had to be a heel that was going to win.
To fight Naomi.
And I knew it wasn't going to be Tamina or Lana. So I figured it would be Natalya. Because I think that Charlotte's the match you save. Granted, you could have done that at SummerSlam, but I feel that they're building more towards a Charlotte-Becky feud than they are building towards the Charlotte-Naomi rematch for a finish they've never had yet. So I figured that Natalya was the way forward. Bear in mind, I'm no Nostradamus. I bollocksed up every other prediction on here. So.
This was just such a weird prediction. When you said it, I thought...
You did laugh it off.
I've got this in the bag. I've won this round.
Well, you went with Lana.
Because of the whole Tamina storyline.
It wasn't going to be Lana, though, was it? She'd already faced her 3 times and lost in 86 seconds.
That's WWE booking. I'm trying to second guess them. Of all the stories that they're telling on telly, Lana and Tamina is the most prominently featured of the women's division. Granted, that's not that's just because the rest of the division's so awful, right? Not awful, but underdeveloped. So I just went with where the story was. Natalya. What was the last thing? She was the leader of that unforgettable faction, the Welcoming Committee.
They did get brought up on commentary.
Did they?
They did. Naomi brought it up in a rare piece of continuity.
Yeah, so Lana and Tamina were kind of dominating at the start. Then Tamina tapped to Becky Lynch's disarmer. Lana then tapped to Becky Lynch's disarmer.
I felt that was a really disappointing spot. So I really like the fact that Lana kept getting into these situations, and Tamina kept breaking it up, and saving Lana, and everyone was like, "Oh God, Lana should have lost about 12 times by now," but Tamina keeps saving her. So when Becky made Tamina tap, I wanted to see that moment when Lana was in the middle of the ring with everyone surrounding her, being like, "Okay, now what are you gonna do?" But they didn't. It's just Becky just made her tap instantly, which is also fine.
But you've got to save time for the flag match show. So let's eliminate all 3 people here in a minute stretch. So Becky was eliminated right after with a Natalya roller.
Pull of the tights. And again, I think this ties into my Becky Lynch heel turn. Although I'm reticent to want Becky Lynch to turn heel because at least she's a babyface that gets cheered, and we're scant few of those in the world of WWE. So let's celebrate the fact that we've got a babyface who gets cheered.
Just turn her into give her a bit more of an edge. She's the last kicker. She could be a female Stone Cold Becky.
Quite happy with that because I think that she's the one who has been saying that I keep fighting for what is right and I keep playing by the rules and I keep getting screwed over. And I think that that's going to tie into her then turning heel and starting to cheat her way into wins. And that will lead into a Charlotte feud at SummerSlam. That's my prediction.
It's a storyline.
Again, perhaps I'm putting too much into this by asking for storylines on SmackDown.
So Natalya won. See, if you're going to do a match in this way, where everyone's eliminated in a minute stretch with only about 5 minutes of action preceding it, I think the whole match was 12 minutes in all. Why not just make it Charlotte versus Natalya in a singles match for the number 1 contender? For Naomi.
Because if you had done that, then you wouldn't have been able to have a multi-person women's match on a SmackDown pay-per-view, which is the standard. Also, you wouldn't be able to have any backstage skits where they all stand in a line around Shane McMahon.
Yeah, so I lost this one. Obviously, I went for Lana. I was so optimistic at the start because Lana looked like she was killing it. Well, in a heel chicken S-word way.
Yep.
But she didn't.
No.
So next up, we had AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens for the United States title. Kevin Owens had recently lost his belt to AJ on a house show of all places at Madison Square Garden. So surely that means AJ's retaining.
Well, that was what I thought, because
we both went for AJ.
Because if Kevin Owens was just getting the belt back, then why'd you bother taking it off him in the first place?
Yeah.
This is, again, it's like the Chris Jericho thing. They took it off of him just because everyone thought that Jericho's leaving, so Kevin Owens is clearly going to win. So we'll just do this to F with the fans a little bit. But the problem is now it just completely devalues his new Face of America gimmick, where he's lost the belt twice.
Yeah.
And has had to win it back. He's a 3-time US champion. Only won it at WrestleMania.
Yeah, so 4 months, 3 reigns.
Yeah, I think that really devalues his character.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why this new Face of America thing isn't getting over. It's because he's not the new Face of America. He's the really rubbish Face of America.
Yeah, and no one's really making a thing of that either.
No.
Like, if that was a story they're telling, and AJ Styles would be like, but you've lost it, mate.
Yeah.
Which he hasn't really done. So that build isn't there either. There's no coherence in the storytelling for this feud. And just, with the G1 going on right now, and I was waxing lyrical when Luke got into the studio about Omega versus Suzuki, which I watched Saturday morning with a big bowl of shredders. That is my favourite way to watch New Japan. Big bowl of cereal.
Yep.
And my favourite way to watch Ring of Honor, big stuffed crust pizza. Nothing better.
Excellent.
And they just had a hell of a match. And I thought of this card, the G1's going on right now. Some people are calling it the best tournament in wrestling history already off the back of the first week because it's been that damn good.
Wow.
Why don't you just say, okay, AJ, Owens, just go out there and go do everything. Have a massive match. Like, because Battleground last year, Owens and Sami Zayn had one of my favourite matches of the year because it was built up on character and there was that wonderful spot where Owens was like, why are you making me beat you up so much?
Yeah.
Like, he's the good guy. And then Zayn did the haluva kick.
And the catch. Oh, it was so good.
And it looked like, is he going to pin him? And no, puts him back, gives another haluva kick. Babyface prevails.
And look what they did for Sami Zayn.
But for, that match.
For a brief period of time.
That match was the entire feud in a microcosm of it. So why not just say to AJ and Owens, you know what? We know this is going to be a screwy finish show. The Punjabi prison match isn't going to be a mat classic. We've given them other things on this show. Just go out there and have a wicked match.
Because they have a WWE style, and they've got to adhere to that WWE style. This is why, so Dave Meltzer made a very good point on Wrestling Observer Radio many, many moons ago, when there was all those rumours about Kenny Omega going to WWE. And he said at the time, he goes, I don't think Omega is going to go, because Omega's whole thing of this year is, I want to have 5-star matches. I want to have the best match of the year. I want to have the best match of the year winners. or candidates. And he's never going to have those in WWE because once he gets there, like, okay, cool, all that stuff that you do, don't do that here. You need to work to our WWE style and do these kind of matches. And that then limits what people can do.
Well, one of the reasons the G1 is so good right now is because it is a clash of styles. But really in WWE, as much as it likes to say, oh, these guys are differently matched, they're all wrestling the same style.
Yeah.
And
they all have the same match.
That's why, and when you get to the 7-hour WrestleManias or SummerSlams, it is just mind-numbing.
But that's why, people keep questioning why we love the Brock Lesnar-Goldberg match at WrestleMania so much, or any Brock Lesnar match, because they at least feel different to everything else on the card.
Yeah.
That's the appeal of Brock Lesnar for me. He's the only thing that feels unique.
Completely agree. So AJ and Owens not only they just had a decent match right at the start, so it wasn't anything special. There's a really nice moment when AJ went up for the phenomenal forearm, but Owens had already slipped out the ring and then he pulls his legs out from the apron. That was a nice bit of scouting, stuff you would have thought about. I like it when wrestlers act intelligently in their matches.
Yeah.
And
he'd watch some tapes.
Yeah, and they had this match, and I was like, no, this is okay. It's nowhere near as good as I wanted it to be, but maybe the finish will pick up. When you have those awesome 5-minute stretches at the end of matches.
I've got to be nuts before I come in here.
Let the viewers to make their own puns in the comments.
Those edamame beats just really catching the back of my throat.
And the finish for this was Owens picks up AJ, or maybe does he throw him? I can't remember which way.
No, I think. I can't remember what it was. I think he picked him up and then he just effed him into the ref, basically.
Yeah. So the referee's down, and the referee is doing a horrible job. Like, he's down, but his eyes are open, and he can see everything that's going on around him. And then he just stands there for a bit like this, looking around all dazed.
Do you know what was really funny, though? When they did the ref bump, I was like, we were just talking about this on Friday's show, about they don't do ref bumps anymore.
Well, they didn't do a ref. They did a ref bump, but they didn't capitalize on any of the drama that gives you.
I was expecting him then, so they did the ref bump. He then gets him in the calf crusher.
AJ gets Owens.
I was half expecting then Owens to tap out, and everyone be like, "Oh my God, Owens tapped out," but the referee didn't see it. AJ should have won this match, but no, he didn't. Owens just reversed it.
We reversed it into a crossface, and you're like, "Oh, now is Owens going to get the pin? The referee's got more of a vantage point." Then that was reversed into another crossface by AJ on Owens. And then Owens got him into a pinning combination where AJ's shoulders were on the mat, but nothing strong. The referee kind of comes out of dazed mode from WWE 2K17, and he makes a slow count.
He does a slow count, and I was like, why isn't AJ kicking out? He can hear the count.
Yeah.
It's right next to him.
And then it's over, and Owens is the new United States champion. AJ's kind of going, what just happened to the referee? I'm like, well, it's quite clear what happened. You're a professional athlete and wrestler. Why the heck didn't you know what was going on?
I think, in kayfabe terms, AJ thought he was pinning Owens. Because Owens had rolled up... Because Owens, to get him, has to roll onto his back to get AJ into a pinning predicament. So, perhaps in kayfabe terms...
A pinning predicament.
A pinning predicament. So, perhaps, in kayfabe terms, I think that AJ might have thought he was pinning Kevin Owens, whereas Kevin Owens was actually pinning him. Well,
that would have been a written part of the storyline that the commentators would have been told to play up.
Would have put over, but they did not.
But nothing was said. I was shaking my head at this match. But the crowd was flat because the crowd were like, this is weird because there was a ref bump, but usually we see something with the ref bump. It just doesn't feel right. It's like there is a structure and an order for things because it works. And when people don't adhere to that structure or subvert that structure, which is the way of getting around it, it doesn't feel right.
No.
And that played off to the entire crowd here where they were looking at the match and like, what isn't right here?
It's weird as well because you and I
There's nothing, but everything was by the rules, really.
You and I were literally just criticising WWE for having the same match. And shaking things up a little bit is really good. That's what this company needs in order to make things feel fresh and original. But this is not the way to shake things up a little bit because they did a ref bump for literally no reason. And it didn't build to anything. If you're going to do a ref bump, at least have it be part of a storyline within a match. That was not part of a storyline within a match. You should only do things if it's telling a story.
Yeah.
And it didn't. It's like playing at WWE 2K17 and accidentally hitting the ref and then just waiting for him to come back round to count your pinfall.
Well, there's two ways. There's, like what you said, you do something for a reason. Or there's the other way where you just make everything chaotic. So you never know what's going to happen, like in an actual sport.
The Vince Russo way of
The
booking.
Vince Russo, yeah. And sometimes it can work, but they weren't doing either. They were sort of straddling this horse with their nuts being crushed underneath them. So we both went for AJ. Owens is the new United States champion. So I thought he was dropping this Face of America gimmick, but it looks like we're stuck with it.
Yeah.
And he's stuck with it more worryingly because he's much, much better than this.
Now, we also got sent, apparently there was a SummerSlam preview thing that was going around, like they had the house show tours they're doing around SummerSlam, and they were advertising a main event of AJ versus Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship, and Kevin Owens as US Champ against Sami Zayn. So I wonder if that is actually the direction they're going now, is that they're moving these two away from each other and moving AJ back into the main event title hunt.
I can't wait for that Zayn Owens feud again. Which, like, well done WWE, you've made me not care about Generico versus Steen.
Do you know what's so funny as well? So, like, okay, going back to last year, they had that great Battleground match, and that was meant to be, this is the end of the feud. This is the end of Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. And it was a wonderful end to that feud. And then they announced they're going to be doing this draft. And you're like, all right, cool. Well, this is a great way to move them away from each other. You put one on Raw, you put one on SmackDown, and then they don't have to face each other again. And then you can just keep them apart for years until they have that epic rematch, 3 years down the line, 3 years down the line. But they put them both on Raw. And Kevin Owens pinned him a couple of times while he was Universal Champion. And then they do the Superstar Shake-Up, and they move them both over to bloody SmackDown. They've always stayed together, and they keep fighting each other.
There's kind of a poetic symmetry there, but they've kept Zayn really weak, so who cares?
Yeah.
We move on now to Rusev versus John Cena in a flag
We've
match.
actually got was the Sami Zayn match?
Sami
after this?
Zayn was after this.
Oh, was that
yeah.
the crowd?
Were you
crowd
looking
cooler?
for a nice segue from
Well,
Sami Zayn?
no,
into
actually,
that?
I thought it came before the time, but I forgot it was the crowd cooler match.
It's the crowd cooler. You don't need a crowd cooler. Weird WWE match booking psychology. The crowd cooler is when you put a dud match in between your semi-main event and your main event.
Yeah, to try and cool the crowd down because they're so hot from the last match. I mean, the last thing you want is a hot crowd.
Yeah. Noises.
It used to be the Divas match.
Yeah. The toilet break.
Yeah.
So Rusev versus John Cena in a flag match.
This went long.
Yeah, this was like 22, 25 minutes.
Yeah, really long.
I thought there were some nice little spots in here.
I thought the match really didn't get going until they got up to the entrance ramp where both of the podiums were.
That was like 15 minutes of the match. I thought most of it took place there.
Everything before that was every John Cena Rusev match you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But actually, I thought once they actually got out of the ring and they started doing all the flag stuff at the podium, it got really good.
It got okay for me. I wasn't really... It was just, like you said, every Rusev and John Cena match I've seen in the ring, and then when they got out, I was just like, this is slightly better than what was going on before.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
It was good for the most John Cena visual I've ever seen, and that's him with an American flag. And I was like, yep, that's John Cena. That's definitely John Cena.
I did laugh, though, that when Rusev went and set the tables up by the American podium, I literally went, all right, cool, so John Cena's going to walk up the stairs with him in the AA position and do the AA.
Yeah.
And that's not, me like trying to brag and be claiming to be Nostradamus. That was just so clearly set up. But I like that sort of thing.
That's good. Yeah, that was a good spot.
A great spot, because I'm like, cool, I'm really looking forward to that moment now.
And that's a good finish to the match. The babyface hero, show of strength up those steps, and then chucks the evil villain through the tables.
That is setup and payoff.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, actually, there was also a really good power spot in the five-way elimination match where Charlotte got Natalya up. I think
for
it was
a powerbomb.
For a powerbomb. And it looked like she was proper struggling to get her up, but what an amazing display of strength.
That was good. So we both went for John there, Johnny boy. He did us and America proud.
Good old Captain America did not let us down.
No. Now, so John Cena won. What next for him?
What? I don't know. Maybe you do. Perhaps one direction we've not looked at for SummerSlam is actually John Cena versus Nakamura.
Hey, I know. I think it's John Cena versus Jinder.
You still think it's John Cena Jinder?
I've just remembered that Jinder was a thing.
Well, I said it was going to be John Cena Jinder on Friday. But if they are moving AJ into that title picture, then John Cena's got...
AJ.
So it could be John Cena versus Nakamura as like that big showcase match. Because to me, honestly, for me, that's a dream match.
That's pretty damn good.
I'd love to see that match.
With Nakamura going over.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
So next up we had the cooler match, as was previously alluded to. Sami Zayn versus Mike Kanellis.
Yep. Unfortunately, neither of us remembered 50-50 booking, and so we both predicted that Mike Kanellis would win as the new character. But of course, 50-50 booking dictates that Sami had to win because Mike won on Tuesday.
And just in a disastrous fashion as well. Sami Zayn dominates the match at the start. It wasn't until Maria gets in that Mike gets the upper hand. Again, with a wicked close fist punch to Sami Zayn's face. I like that. But then, it was just you can tell that Sami Zayn did his best planning out this match. There was a bit when Maria came out to stop the exploder suplex into the turnbuckle, and then she stopped that from happening. But then she got out after the referee said go away, and Sami Zayn hit the turnbuckle spot, which was really nice. That was a good bit of psychology. But yeah, Sami Zayn won. As much as I love Sami, this should have been Mike's victory.
Yeah,
he's not going anywhere, is he?
No, I mean it's What can you say about it?
First impressions.
It was the cooler match, and first impressions do count for a lot. 50-50 booking really kills someone in the early goings.
Yeah. Who hasn't got 50-50 booking, however, is Jinder Mahal.
3 wins over Randy Orton now on pay-per-view.
Wow. So none of them clean. Punjabi Prison, the 3rd time ever in history.
Oh,
we've got a T-shirt. Damn it.
Bloody brittle Balor. Yeah. Always falling down.
And... this was come at me. I really enjoyed this match.
I mean, should we go out now? The best Punjabi prison match ever?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I think it was. I thought this had everything in the first cage and all the excitement in the outside cage as well. When we watched the previous 2 Punjabi prisons for a previous WrestleRamble, you can go watch those from last week's shows. And I felt that some of them had some really good in-ring stuff, but then as soon as they got outside, it was less interesting. Especially the Batista one, because it was very shortly after they got out that the match ended. And then the Big Show Undertaker one had that really awkward finish where Undertaker won, he's proper fallen now. Even though Big Show probably should have won first. And it just wasn't that interesting when they got to the outside. And it was a bit lumbering in the middle as well. I
like the cluster F atmosphere of the ending of that first Punjabi prison, because Great Khali's climbed the side and he's like, well, he's not involved in... It's like the ref bump. Why isn't he involved in the finish? Yeah. And Undertaker and Big Show fell out at the same time.
I did laugh at someone there on Twitter that said, it's good to see Great Khali come down and who his trademark climb up a bit of the Punjabi prison spots.
Yeah, can't bless him. He can't get all the way up. But yeah, I would actually agree this was the best Punjabi prison match ever. It sounds like it's damning with faint praise, but I really liked the overbooked nonsense of this match.
Oh, it was wonderful, wasn't it? Randy Orton facing, just fighting against all odds, because there was a brilliant moment, and it was shot very well, where the Singh brothers, they did a backstage segment where they said, we are so sorry to announce that we can't take you to ringside today, and it's a real dishonor for us. We would love to be able to do it. And you're like, oh wow, so the Singh brothers aren't going to get involved until much later in the match. They got involved before they'd even got out of the first cage. It was brilliantly shot as well, because all of a sudden it's just like, where'd they come from?
Well, are they small enough to get through the bits? That's how they played it when one of the Singh brothers got out to the outside and ran round.
Yeah, I don't know, but
they're small enough to fit through the outside gaps.
Well, I thought it was a really, really great spot where they got involved, and then it's like Randy Orton then is facing against 3 guys inside a prison-like structure. Yeah. Oh, it was great storytelling.
So Randy is stuck in the middle. All 4 doors are now locked, and the Singh brothers pull out Jinder at the very last moment before the final door becomes locked, and then Jinder's climbing up. Randy does the spot which every Punjabi prison match has had. He climbs out the inner one and then leaps onto the outer structure and beats Jinder down. And then you just get kendo sticks and steel chairs, and Randy Orton's arm is busted open.
Got some welts on his back as well from the...
Those look stiff. And then definitely the spot of the show, or the spot of that match, because the super kick was better, I think. Poor Singh brother for not getting the spot of the night, considering what he did. Randy punches. Do you know which Singh brother it was?
It's Samir.
Samir, and he leaps and does a huge back bump through the announcer's table, which thankfully broke because of the size of him.
I was up at 5 a.m. this morning to watch this pay-per-view. My lady partner decided to have a bit of a lie-in before she went to work, because we were away for the weekend, so we were a bit tired, got back late last night. And she got out of bed about 7:30. So she actually came in for the end of the last 10 minutes of this match, and usually she comes in and I have to then turn it off the TV and put it on my iPad, because she doesn't like watching wrestling. And I was like, it's just 10 minutes left. She's like, it's fine. I'll just watch the last 10 minutes then. So she was there to see the table spots. And she did say at one point, this is going on forever. I know it's only 10 minutes, but this is lasting forever.
Yeah.
And then the table spot thing, she did go, oh, wow. Like, it was a big, oh, wow moment.
She loves a high spot.
And then when it showed the replay, and slow motion replay as well, of him bouncing off the table, because he hit the plastic bits that covers where the monitors are. So he hit that and it bounced up slightly and then the table collapsed.
It's no fun.
And she was like, that's got to really hurt. And I was like, well, yeah, the table does break your fall, so that's fine. But she was like, but it looked like he landed on his coccyx. And
yeah, he didn't.
That
wasn't on his upper back.
He did take a proper flat back, but I think that's because he hit the plastic bit first before he hit anything else. So I mean, he will be sore today.
Yeah, but much respect to Singh Brother 2 for doing that. But then oh God, my voice is going all crazy. Randy came back in and he fought everyone off, and he is climbing out the cage. He's almost on top of the cage. Who should make his big WWE return?
Is this a return?
He wasn't there for a bit.
Well, no, I thought it was played off like it was a one-off thing, because at no point did the commentators ever go, the Great Khali is back. Oh my God, the Great Khali is back. They just kept saying, he's the creator of the Punjabi prison. Of course he's here.
Well, in the definition of the term return, he definitely returned.
Oh yeah, okay. He definitely.
You mean a return for a long run?
That's more what I was getting at. Yes. Yeah. No. Of course, he did return.
Yeah. He was definitely there after not being there.
In the dictionary dictionary definition of the term, yes, he definitely.
You mean
did
a
return.
long run return? Well, come on to that at the end. Just run through the finish.
Sorry.
So Khali comes down. First of all, he shakes.
That was a great spot where he shakes it. And Randy Orton literally went whoa and flipped back over.
Because Randy was almost over, and I was like, how's Great Khali gonna put him back in the cage? Khali shakes it to an extent where Randy flips over.
Yeah, it was very dangerous. Very dangerous.
But he manages to catch himself.
Bear in mind, it's very spiky up there.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Cole wasn't there to remind us of that, but it's very spiky.
It's like Jurassic Park, Luke.
Very sad there was no Jurassic Park references.
Khali grabs Randy's throat through the Punjabi prison, allowing Jinder to get over and escape.
Choking him out.
Yeah.
Randy Orton was going red in the face. He was passing out.
So there you have. See, back to the Great Khali. I would actually really like him, Orton, and the Singh brothers to be this new faction.
You mean him, Mahal, and the Singh brothers?
Oh, what did I say?
Him, Orton, and the Singh brothers.
Yes, not Orton.
No, I can't see Orton wanting to team up with these three lads now that
That'd
they're
be a
screwed about the
hell
title
of a
3 months.
Yeah. I would. That looks really good to me. And you don't have to have Great Khali wrestle, which is definitely where he falls down talent-wise. But standing there looking intimidating and doing the occasional interfering power move,
doing an overhand chop,
I'm all for that.
That's awesome. I can definitely get behind that.
Because at the moment, Jinder has muscle in the loosest of terms. It's the Singh brothers.
Yeah.
But if he's got Khali there as well, then you've got the complete package. You've got the lean, sort of muscular guy as your front. You've got the two weedy tag team guys in there as well, and then you've got the huge monster.
Yeah,
that's a faction.
Also, there's a possible tease in there as well, and I felt like they were doing something to slightly set this up, because the Great Khali took the title off of him and lifted it up above his head, and I was like, ooh. I mean, I hope they don't, but are they going to build to a Jinder Khali feud for later on this year? I
think Jinder just got excited.
Khali got excited.
Yes, Khali got excited.
All right, Jim Ross, what's going on?
I just
your back hurts.
Yeah, my back hurts. So yeah, that's Backlash. It's not Backlash. That's Battleground. So that's Battleground.
It was Battleground.
Overall, a great tag team match, a very fun Punjabi prison match. But the rest of the show was really subpar, I thought.
A thumbs in the middle, slightly pointing down show.
Oh no, I've got it quite adamantly down.
Yeah.
So that's a full down?
Yeah, it's a full down.
I'm down.
Yeah, I'm more about here, yeah.
Because you made it sound like you were there.
Oh no, it was slightly, it was more like...
Oh, okay, that's a whole notch.
Yeah, it's a notch, yeah.
It's
a gear change.
That's all we've got time for on this episode. I've got to go and have an operation on my back now, probably. But if you want to catch up with the latest WrestleRamble or Wrestle Talk news so far, click the videos that have just appeared over Luke's face. Subscribe to Wrestle Talk. Support us on Patreon as well. And this is Luke Owen. I'm Ollie Davis. That was Rambling.